All right, let's dive right into this explainer and pull back the curtain on the invisible forces shaping your seemingly independent dining choices. Have you ever sat down at a restaurant, scanned the menu, and thought, yep, I know exactly what I want, feeling totally in control of your craving? Well, prepare to have your mind blown just a little bit, because the reality is way more calculated. Think about it for a second. Why do you order what you order? Do you actually believe your meal choice is entirely your own? I kind of want to shatter that illusion of free choice right out of the gate. Today, we're exploring the fascinating science of how your appetite is quite literally guided by design, formatting, and behavioral psychology. We're pulling our insights today directly from a specialized program, the Restaurant Management Certification for Long-Term Success. Specifically, we're digging into Module 2, which is all about designing and balancing a restaurant menu using engineering techniques. This isn't just basic culinary arts. It's a highly structured discipline backed by cognitive science. It essentially dictates your entire dining journey from the very second you sit down. So here's our game plan for today. First, the menu's hidden agenda. Second, the golden triangle layout. Third, the psychology of mouth-watering words. Fourth, the tie-breaking power of imagery. Fifth, psychological pricing strategies. And finally, number 6, engineering long-term success. Kicking things off with Section 1, the menu's hidden agenda. You know, a menu is way more than it appears to be on the surface. It's not just some polite list of food and drinks. It's actually a carefully engineered tool, probably the single most important piece of marketing collateral a restaurant has, designed specifically for long-term viability. And this brings us to menu engineering. This is the strategic application of layout, psychology, and pricing to maximize popularity and profitability. The ultimate goal here? Highlighting what the industry calls stars. These are the menu items that are incredibly popular and highly profitable. Menu engineers carefully avoid overcrowding the page, because if there are too many choices, we get totally overwhelmed. And those highly profitable star items, they just get lost in all the noise. Moving right along to Section 2, the golden triangle layout. Let's look at how this actually plays out on the physical page. We're going to track the journey of a diner's eyes, the exact moment they open a standard 2-page menu. Decades of research show that we humans follow a very predictable eye-scanning pattern, which experts call the golden triangle. Check this out. When you open that menu, your eyes naturally dart first to the middle of the right page. Then, boom, up to the top right corner. And finally, they sweep across to the top left corner. This invisible triangle maps out the absolute highest rent real estate on the entire menu. And notice how restaurants ruthlessly capitalize on that eye movement. That center spot? That is prime real estate for signature, high-margin items. The top right is the premium spot reserved for high-profit entrees. And that top left, perfect for appetizers or other high-margin categories. Now, to make absolutely sure you don't miss these stars, engineers will use visual highlights. We're talking drawing boxes, bold borders, or using subtle shading around these specific areas just to steer your attention exactly where they want it. Next up, Section 3. Psychology of mouth-watering words. So, moving from layout to language, it turns out cognitive science and evocative descriptions can completely bypass your brain's logical cost filters, because words matter, especially when you're hungry. Take a look at this comparison. You could order chicken soup with matzo balls, which, sounds fine. Or you could order Grammy's matzo ball soup. It's the exact same dish, but adding that nostalgic branding, it creates an emotional trigger. It suddenly feels comforting, authentic, and special, and that easily justifies a higher price tag in your mind. Branded names like Jack Daniel's BBQ sauce work the exact same magic. And the data backs this up in a massive way. According to research from places like Cornell University, using vivid sensory adjectives, words that describe smells, textures, and flavors like succulent or crispy, can literally increase a dish's sales by up to 27%. And here's the absolute craziest part. It creates a sensory chain reaction. Customers actually rate the meal as tasting better and having better value after they eat it, purely because of the words they read beforehand. Let's roll into Section 4, tie-breaking power of imagery. Have you ever found yourself totally torn between two incredibly tempting choices on a menu and you just can't decide? Well, this is exactly where high-quality imagery steps in as the ultimate tiebreaker. The strategic placement of a photo or an illustration doesn't just make your mouth water. It gently nudges you toward one specific dish over another. From the restaurant's point of view, placing a gorgeous image right next to a higher-margin dish is a surefire way to plump up the average check size and elevate their overall brand image. Now for Section 5, psychological pricing strategies. Okay, we've reached the ultimate decision point, the price. And strategic pricing is all about shifting your focus away from the actual cost and entirely onto perceived value. Contrast these two formats right here. You've got $24, complete with the dollar sign and decimals, versus just the raw number 24. This targets something behavioral economists call the pain of paying. Repeatedly seeing currency symbols or the word dollars literally activates your brain's concept of cost. It makes you hyper-aware that you're losing money, which leads you to spend less. By just dropping that dollar sign, the menu totally softens that psychological blow.
Even the numbers themselves are carefully chosen. Ever notice how prices so often end in 95 or 99 cents? That's known as charm pricing. It relies on the left digit effect to trick your brain into feeling like you're getting a deal. On the flip side, look at rounded numbers like a solid, flat 45. Rounded numbers are the go-to for fine dining establishments because they ditch the whole bargain illusion and instead subtly convey pure quality and sophistication.
But the real trick here is how these numbers interact with each other on the page, specifically through something called the decoy effect. Look at this table. Imagine seeing a premium seafood tower for $125 sitting right at the very top of a category. That is very often an intentionally high-priced decoy. It anchors your expectation of cost so high that the $45 signature steak, which is the actual high-margin star they really want you to buy, suddenly looks like a totally reasonable bargain by comparison. It's brilliant. And to stop you from just scanning down the right side of the menu looking for the cheapest option, menu engineers use a sneaky tactic called strategic nesting. Instead of aligning the prices in a neat vertical column, they hide the price right at the end of the dish's description, using the exact same font size and weight. This forces you to read about the succulent, mouth-watering value of the dish before you ever see what it costs. The goal is simple: make you fall in love with the food first and consider the price second. Bringing it all together in Section 6, Engineering Long-Term Success. This whole certification module really hammers home that menu engineering isn't just about one single trick. It is about seamlessly combining all of these micro-interactions. The diner's journey is a meticulously engineered flow. Think about it. Your eyes are guided by the golden triangle to the most profitable items. Your brain is seduced by evocative, nostalgic descriptions. Your indecision is cured by tie-breaking imagery. And finally, your wallet is gently nudged open by psychological pricing that minimizes the pain of paying. All of these invisible forces operate simultaneously in the background to boost the restaurant's bottom line, while, ironically, leaving you feeling incredibly satisfied with your meal. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Now that you know the hidden science, the golden triangles, the decoy pricing, the nested numbers, and the sensory words, next time you dine out, will you read the menu or will the menu read you? You now have the superpower to see the invisible forces at work right on your plate. Enjoy your next meal and keep your eyes peeled.